news from Rauta. This time we go to Brazil, the home of so many extreme metal bands over the years, and there is no denying how much those years have affected with their many bands, extreme metal genre, especially black metal. But among those names are bands that have gone beyond it, and one of these bands is what we have today. This is a curious case, been here since 2004, because this band is a combination of black metal and RAC nowadays, whereas it used to be maybe more traditional black, trash and death earlier on. What is also curious enough with the given band here is that they have released so many releases throughout the years and mostly focusing on splits. And during those years, almost 20 years by now, the band has also been putting out 7 albums, this is the latest. And now talking about the band name, Ravendark's Monarchal Canticle. Now, I have no idea what led the band to figure out such a name for a band. I mean, there probably was some easier to approach kind of names for a lot of possibilities, but this is what they have. And as you can see, war is the theme here. Axe, some kind of a machine gun, I would say, maybe assault rifle. And of course that is combined with Ravendark. Now, as you might see, based on the label here, D88 Records, as well as some of the images presented, this one is not for your safe space kind of a metal, but this is dealing with very, very toxic themes: war, hatred, misanthropy, evil, National Socialism. So might put a lot of people out there off, and very understandable, for understandable reasons that is. But be it as it may, this needs a little bit taking a look into Brazilian history in order to understand this. A country that operated many years under dictatorship, and then when things went into more democratic directions, there were more political issues, corruption and what have you, which might be a little bit of like an intro to what is going on with countries such as Brazil, and then combined into something very, very 1940s European thing. Now, that is a different topic, of course, but just in case you want to understand what's going on with Brazil, there are lots of sources, be it bands of old and this one, which might really elaborate and explain a lot of things going on. But we're not here to talk about history, we're not here to lecture about what's going on, just explaining that even if this might sound a little bit weird, even paradoxical in nature, well, there is a reason to everything. Now we take a look at this band's metal archive site. This is curious. Ever since 2004, the man has been putting out a lot of material. I mean, there are dozens and dozens of splits, but also EP, compilation, box sets, what have you, and like I said, a few full albums. And Reverência ou Morte, I don't know how to pronounce Portuguese, pardon for that. This is the latest album that came out during the summer 23, and has a couple of cover songs as well as few songs of their own, resulting in some 32 minutes of extreme metal music. Now, what started supposedly, arguably, with a combination of death, thrash, black, what have you, led the band to evolve into something different. And nowadays this could be said it's old school black metal combined with RAC. Yes, the RAC part is very, very strong here, creating almost like a punkish ways of executing music here. Then again, you could make the claim this is kind of a Venom, what's happening really. So it's definitely more into rock and roll ways of executing stuff rather than just going traditional black metal, whether we're talking about later era first wave or second wave of black metal, not to mention anything more modern than that. This makes this album rather hard to swallow for a lot of people. I mean, those who are expecting anything else than very early 80s terms of black metal to approach here might be a little bit disappointed, because this doesn't really resonate with a lot of that stuff. I mean, whether we're talking about any kind of a Scandinavian black metal, or whether we're talking about Greek black metal, not to mention American black metal, north or south, doesn't matter. This doesn't really do that kind of stuff. The RAC part is here very, very dominant, and as such I would say this is more closer to Venom or Motorhead kind of a stuff rather than your typical black metal. And as everybody knows, Motorhead isn't exactly a black metal band. Now, Venom is obviously among the forefathers of the whole genre doing that, but for some people even Venom is too far away from being what is considered now like the classic approach to black metal. And as such, this is kind of a hard cookie to crack, or hard pill to swallow for that matter. The thing here is, see, these riffs are very simple. They are very much kind of a basic and bare bone stuff, and as such, like said, driven more about like this rock and roll nature, meaning the tempo is never too high, it's never too slow, but it's kind of a RAC momentum what is going on here with the punk elements and all. On top of that, you have these vocals which are more, I guess, what you could call grunting. I mean, it's not really proper growling, but definitely leaning towards it rather than typical black metal where we're talking about raspier, throatier, screamier, shrieky vocals. There is none of that. So if you're listening to this and think like, okay, this doesn't really sound black metal, yeah, think again. Think Venom and then combine that with RAC and you're roughly having the idea what's going on here. And as such, this is not for everybody. People who are more into RAC or punkier bands, bands flirting with black metal early on and all that stuff might find this listenable. But then again, you probably have to have some kind of a soft spot for the topics here and the themes, ideological points or whatnot. And those who are allergic to those definitely won't enjoy this album for probably two reasons: the music and the ideological parts. Can't really comment any of the lyrics because, as you can figure out, it's Portuguese. So when you're talking about National Socialist bands coming from Europe and coming from Brazil, they're basically two different breeds of animal. That is saying this doesn't really necessarily resonate with people who are looking for some kind of a European take on the stuff. You kind of have to be, I guess, Brazilian, or at least fan of Brazilian art, products, or mindset in order to understand this and then get the whole package going on. But if you're only for the old school riffs and all stuff, you don't care about lyrics, you don't care about the themes, ideology or whatnot, then you might be enjoying this one, assuming you can handle your RAC and old school black metal flirting with rock and roll. That's what I got to tell you. It's another great album, it's not a bad album, but very much in the middle. And if that's something that you can take, go ahead and give Ravendark's Monarchal Canticle a chance. And off you go. Might not be easy to find the links provided, but if you have a magnificent Googling skill and you know how to handle your way throughout the underground of internet, the dark corners and all that stuff, you might actually find this one. Or then go for the physical product, as always. At least available through the label directly. And now, off you go. Enjoy or not. Bye-bye.